Hello and welcome to another episode. I suppose it really. There's been some shenanigans in the background. This is episode number 2. Our viewer submitting today is Verdant. Have I said that right?
Verdant.
Verdant. There we go.
Yeah.
He's got a factory, Factorio space exploration, just like me. So I should at least have some kind of experience of what he's talking about. He's got a little bit, so I'm going to pass the microphone over to him, and he's going to introduce the factory, and then we can get cracking. So let's do this.
Yeah, so this factory is a third attempt at going through SpaceX. I tried once with a pretty poor attempt. Another time where I got like decently far. I got to vulcanite and cryonite, and then I decided I'd do it again. So in this one, I had a plan from the outset where I set out to build a factory using 1, 2, or double-headed trains as much as possible, without using a set city block size, and to use core processing as much as possible instead of ore mining. So as a sentence, that's a pretty poor plan. So what ended up happening was that every build became some sort of purpose build for some given rate of production without paying attention to how the build would interact with other portions of the base. So a good example of this, which you'll see, is the core processing build, and a bad example of this is the rocket fuel build. As an overall result, Novice is a bit schizophrenic in design language because I've mixed trains as much as I've said. And so the system just it looks a bit weird in places. In some places it looks like it's a nice pretty design. In some places it's uneven. But where the design starts to come into effect is really in the other planets, like the space exploration portion of SpaceX. So you'll see that as you go through with my like the exoplanetary resources, that there's a lot more design thought gone into those, and in my planetaries or my extra planetary sciences. So my up to tier 4 builds for astro, energy, and mechanical. Welcome to Verdant's K2SE factory.
Well, yeah.
As you can see, I have left some of the historical valuable
Yeah.
sentimental stuff.
Everyone does this. Everyone does this. I've never once done it in my.
It's cool. I don't get why you don't.
Because it's in the way.
If you will look down to your south, you will see the Taurus gift shop.
Oh right, okay.
I have prepared armor, a grapple gun, and some fuel cells for your armor for your exoskeletons.
I don't even know what a grapple gun is. So what? How do you? Well, you just fire. Oh. Oh, that's.
Yeah, it's just firing your gun like spacebar.
That's a. Oh, and it fires the gun at them. Oh right. Oh, but okay. Oh yeah, but I don't use. No. This is almost impossible for me because I use a controller.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's have a look at the map. That's always a good place to start. Whoa, gee, what? Okay, let's turn these train stations off. Crikey.
Yeah, so there's a couple of train stations.
There's a lot. Yeah.
I don't keep the names on the map, but I have left tags on so you can see where stuff is. So here's my core processing. It comes in on 1, 2 trains. Everything gets dealt with, shoved into boxes, shoved onto trains.
How many? Okay, how many core seams do you have that you're using on this Novice?
12, I think.
Just 12.
How many trains do I have? No, maybe it's 1, 2, 3.
Not an awful lot. No, you got about the same density as me. That seems like a lot. Oh no, maybe that's about the same.
4 or 5, I think. Yeah, you really don't need much.
No, you don't, because it goes on forever. You do need.
Yep.
You just need power.
But I use a lot of productivity modules, which is quite different to your stuff. So I get a lot more out of it.
I am building level 3 product. All of the modules I'm building up to level 3 on Novice, so I could do this.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just so used to playing in Factorio when there's multiple outputs in a system of not being able to use productivity modules. I almost.
DevOps.
Yeah, exactly. I just assumed that it wouldn't be possible and that we would have to use speed modules. All right, that's good to know.
Nope.
It's good to know for me.
So yeah, this is where most of my ores get shoved onto trains. I have my train fuel is being made out of the excess coal.
You got plenty of landfill.
I have blown up that landfill way too many times, but it doesn't matter because it's all free.
Again, that seems to be
here I have,
that seems to be a common solution. Is to just chuck it all into
just blow
landfill.
the fuck up.
Yeah. Who cares?
Blow it up.
Who cares?
So yeah, so here I have my little cover setup. This is all managed out of core processing, even though like the uranium output is like 2% of your core, but it's perfectly feasible to do. No problems with it.
So you mined all of the uranium is solely mined just from the cores, just from the kind of the vanilla cores that you get on Novice.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so over here I have very small little module builds.
Your trains are tiny.
I didn't feel like there was. Yeah, I didn't feel like there's much point of making like big builds. Because
you're absolutely right.
The logistics of everything.
Yes. Yeah.
The logistics of everything meant that there's no point. I have one train worth of crystals. There's absolutely no point in pretending that I have more than that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I do that for speeds. I have prods over here.
I mean, to be honest, that's the lesson that I've learned. If I was going to do it again, it would start off much simpler, much more straightforward.
Some of this comes by delivery cannon. Some of it is like excess. So over here, this sulfur thing. That's coming from where my immer site is.
So you're bringing in sulfur from somewhere else?
From immer site. So immer site gives off excess sulfur. So you need to get rid of it somewhere. So I put it in productivity modules, or I put it in at the root source of.
Okay. So in my mind, it's just sulfuric acid. Just no. I suppose you only.
No. You actually need raw sulfur as well for a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But if you're looking to get rid of an excess amount of sulfur, would sulfuric acid not be the thing? That would just be my first.
Use that much of it.
Really? We're not mining uranium?
Yeah.
Are you not mining uranium because you're getting it all from
I'm not mining uranium.
Because you're getting it from the damn core fragments, of course.
Yeah.
And then you're shipping the results of those core fragments from here everywhere else. So you're not. So the uranium that's on the other planets, you're just ignoring it.
I ignore it. Yeah, no problem. I don't ship anything. Any stone product that's not glass or stone. I don't ship sand. I do ship silicone. Okay. Actually, no, that's a lie. I don't ship sand.
Well, I'm guessing you just throw sand into landfill
anywhere that it's needed.
You just throw
well, no, I just because I'm on the previous patch, I don't have as many sand byproducts.
Oh.
So stuff like my vulcanite or my ore washing or anything like that, that all gives me stone rather than sand.
Right, a recipe. Okay, a different recipe that's changed at some point in time. So how long ago was that changed? Do you know?
February.
Oh, right. So fairly recently.
January, February. Yeah, fairly recently. Long enough into my run that I was like, I'm not arsed.
Yeah, there is a point at which you're like, yeah, I'm not rebuilding just for this one recipe change. Yeah.
I was like 50 recipe changes as well. I was just like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. I loaded up an Angel and Bob factory a year or so ago. That was probably about 18 months old, and it was one of my most proud factories I've ever built, and it was completely broken. None of it worked.
Completely broken.
Yeah, it's just really really dispiriting for something like that to just go down the drain like that. But to be honest, my whole Angel and Bob experience, every factory was slightly different because they changed the recipe somewhere along the ways. I think it's just the nature of when you're working on a big set of mods.
It's the nature of a mod.
Yeah. People will comment, people will point stuff out, you know. And you're trying to build a recipe tree that's, I don't know, how many materials deep. You know, you're bound to just skip a few steps, or someone else is going to care more than you do. Yeah, it's just one of those things building in big mods. Okay.
So
here's
my fire belt of fuel.
Okay.
And this is how I get away with strains that are this small.
You just have lots and lots and lots of them.
I just have tons of them. Like if you click on them, yeah, I've 72 trains that go to a waiting bay.
And you have trains that have the
Yeah.
potential to go forwards and backwards. Does that not just create complete carnage?
Just you wait.
Okay.
I find them really useful. I found that it made like not sticking to city blocks much easier because they're very adaptable as trains.
Yeah.
But they're also like it limits throughput by quite a bit sometimes.
What, the amount of trains or the fact that they can go forwards and backwards?
The fact that they're so small.
Yeah.
So like when stuff only stacks to 50 and you've got like one carriage of train going, it's a bit of a waste. But like, I made that design like 200 hours ago. And I'm not
Yeah.
So.
No. It's just one of the possible ways that you can take this. I mean, my approach is conveyor belts. I love conveyor belts. If you like trains, then trains is your deal. I mean, that's the way that this game is set out for you to kind of explore those kind of options. I don't think I've ever made this many trains though. This is mental how many trains you've got in here.
Yeah, if you press the O key on your keyboard, I don't know if you can do that on the controller. You'll see the amount of trains I currently have on the planet.
Yeah, they're all different as well.
650 stations and 125 trains.
Bloody hell, man. I still haven't used the delivery capsule. I told myself I would. I told myself not to forget about it and that it might be useful, and then I forgot about it completely.
Yeah, I had big plans for delivery capsules, and it did work out in the end, but they can take forever to set up, and sometimes you feel like they're not worth it.
How much can you? How many stacks can you send in a single capsule?
One.
Just one.
It's one stack.
Oh, geez, that's not worth it.
So it kind of depends. If you have like, you'd think maybe that might not be worth it, but if one stack is like maybe 5 seconds worth of time, you can get a stack across, and the stack is like 200 items. Well, then you're fine, aren't you? Or in one case, you'll.
But are you not just using an enormous amount of actual capsules though? In bare resource terms, are you not using quite a lot of?
You do, but I use I'm using productivity modules to make the capsules, so it's not that much. And before you get to rocket reusability, I think it's like 6 or 7. Capsules are still cheaper.
Fair. I've got my mind in a set mode of no productivity modules or no free stuff. Yeah. That's just the world that I'm used to, you know.
Yeah. Oh no.
I died.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I still have my tourist gift shop? No.
No, unfortunately, you'll have to come over to where you died. Walk of shame.
Where did I die? Oh, the joys of
Thankfully, you died on concrete, so it's not too agonizing to get there.
I mean, it's a pretty big danger when you've got this many trains whizzing around. In my defence.
Oh no, I think I've died like 50 times to trains.
Okay, sweet.
So these are basically just a system, and I don't use every delivery cannon on every planet. I just have like every cannon set up to have this particular recipe, so if I need it, I just send it.
Yeah, so you've got one row set up for each of the planets you've set up a base on, I assume.
Yep.
And then you can...
And then one for orbit as well.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, that's just another base.
That's another planet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are...
And then over to the right, there's a couple other things, but it's not that much.
So where...
So these go... Everything but ice, I think, goes to orbit. I don't think I need anything else. I don't even know if these are functional at the minute. I think I turned them all off. But the ice one goes to my Vulcan. Yeah.
So if you turned them off, how are you delivering this stuff to the platform now? It's a novice orbit.
So that's with the space elevator.
Right,
so
okay.
If you follow me again.
Yeah, I've got you.
So yeah, so when I get a rocket in, I'll pack whatever rocket parts there are and stick them into a provider chest,
Yeah.
and then all of the rocket parts in the short and the capsules will then here you go.
I'm coming. Yeah.
They'll come all the way over here.
Ooh, what we have here?
Okay, so this is how I get rocket parts around.
Okay.
So when I moved from delivery cannons to rocket parts and cargo ships, I needed a way to get to tell my home planet how many rocket ships I need, how many cargo parts.
Yeah.
So this is what I ended up coming up with.
Okay.
So if you look up at the top, we have J for Fuji, G for Ganymede, N for Enlil,
Gotcha.
C for this is Calidus asteroid belt. I just didn't want to write Calidus there.
Yeah.
S for Snack, and then D for Gardenia because G was already taken.
Fine. Okay.
So what all of these mean
Yeah.
is each planet sends one of these letters out through a signal transmitter,
Yeah.
and they all come in on the same signal receiver.
Okay.
And when you split them down, you get meteor ammo, you get parts, and you get the capsules that each planet has. So this is an inventory check of each planet.
So you've got so I'm just looking at the circuit network. You've got all of these values. So those values, they refer back to these planet names, the C, the N, S. Oh, I've got you. And then you've got the values for the parts, capsules, and the meteor ammo that you've got on each of those planets. I've got you.
Yeah.
So what's this number at the top?
So this number is the combined signal for all of these. So the way that I do this, if you follow me down,
Yeah.
pull out the blueprint. Whoops.
Oh, wrong button.
Accidentally destroy my base.
Man, I've done that a couple of times myself, I'll be honest. It's an easy mistake to make.
So each planet has this thing printed down on it.
Yeah.
So we have a roboport that's connected to the logistics network, and then that roboport sends in the inventory of my meteor ammo, my rocket part, and my capsules. And the rocket parts are the packed ones, not the individual ones.
Yeah.
So then if you look at the combinators themselves, you'll see the meteor ammo is multiplied by million.
Yeah.
The parts are then multiplied by 100.
Yeah.
And the capsules are not multiplied. They're just straight up.
They're just straight up added onto it. So
yeah, and then all is combined into one letter signal, in this case J. And then we'll make sure.
So let me.
This isn't gonna.
We've got. So this number that you've got at the top, this is like a string made up of the parts. So, oh, I've got it. 2061. 030914. Wow.
Yeah.
That is. That's a super cool way of doing it. Wow. And so this is the thing that's requesting the items. That is neat. That's really, really neat. So it's 265. That's a really neat way of taking one. See, I've got in my base, I've got an individual circuit network for each rocket, for each cargo rocket. But you've all combined them into one.
Yep,
So
that's the idea.
So we take a level of from the planet that we're aiming at. So we know how many we've got of that, and then we just throw on. We minus what we've got on the rocket itself to give kind of a tally, and then we know what we're adding to that rocket, and that rocket just waits until it's completely full before it launches.
Yep. So, and then down here where you're standing, so I have a bunch of combinators here.
Yeah.
So we've two fail safes in this situation. That you'll see on the red like bar signal. It checks to see if this rocket is ready. So if it's fully built, so that gives me time at the other end to unload all my stuff. And then it checks if there is a signal at all. Because
see.
the first thing to go on a power network, for some reason, seems to be every single signal's transmitted.
They're an incredible power draw. I found this out
Yeah.
myself. So if this number
So
happens
if
to be
power goes down,
and that number happens to be 0, like a null value, then it doesn't.
yeah,
It just shuts
and
everything
the whole
down.
thing just stops and it waits until there's a signal again. Because there's basically no way that I have a 0 signal.
Yeah, well,
with
clearly.
the way that I have
Yeah. You've got to be returning something back, haven't you? Just a really elegant way of laying things out. I really, really like that. That's cool. Okay, so what's next?
Next thing, I don't know if you want to look at planets or if you want to look at science.
Whatever you fancy, I'm good to go. I don't mind.
Okay. So let's go and like save the best for last, if that's all right.
Yeah, fine.
So if you open your solar map and you go to Fuji, it's like the innermost one.
Yep.
That's also.
Ooh,
I'm just now seeing that one of my pulverizers got blown up, so that's very sad. So yeah, so this was one of my first kind of purpose build. I want some like 40, I think it was like 40 vulcanite blocks a second.
Right.
And I figured out like all the ratios or whatever, and then everything got brought over by belt because I was way too lazy to deal with a 20 stack item
On a train.
to put that onto trains.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just felt like a waste of time rather than just bring over belts when belts are cheap enough.
I didn't know that it was a 20 stack when I built my train network. I just built I just did it out of just instinct.
Out of habit.
Yeah, habit, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to double the length of the trains to make it more worthwhile. But
Yeah.
it did occur to me
That's what I've done for some materials. Yeah.
because we've got no biters, we don't really necessarily need trains. You know, there's nothing. Anyway.
Yeah.
So are you mining?
Well, you still need meteor defense.
Yeah.
And mine is running out, so that's why my pulverizer's after dying.
So are you using the core fragments on this planet, or are we mining vulcanite?
No. So on other planets, I thought core processing is a waste of time, because I didn't want to deal with all the byproducts. When I felt like I could just deal with the main product as is and find enough on the planet to get away with it.
Yeah.
I didn't think I needed that much, and I didn't want to deal with all the logistics of getting rid of everything else.
Even if it was just to sink it into landfill and blow it up.
Yeah. Pretty much. Like there's some argument for using the core fragments to like make rocket parts or whatever. But I didn't want to bother sorting out all the ratios to that and figuring it out.
Making rocket.
I had other systems that would do it.
Making rocket parts on this planet.
Yeah, with the remains of the core fragments.
Oh man, that seems like a nightmare.
That'd be one idea that I could have, but I just felt like a lot of work.
I suppose is it giving you the right ratio of materials to make it work?
I don't think so.
Yeah. It would have to be
I lean towards no.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be a real fluke to get that rate. I mean, there's a lot of processes involved in rocket parts. You know, inserters, pumps, storage. You know, there's a lot of like small things. I don't know whether that would work. It's an interesting idea. Yeah, I'm not sure. Those ratios that come out of those core fragments, particularly on a planet like this, because you've also got you've got two processes, haven't you? You break it once, and then you get another fragment, and then you break it again.
Yeah. So when you core fragments on an exoplanet, they give you the planet's resource and then another like portion of stone essentially.
Yeah. Again, another thing that I haven't done yet. But I suppose I'm probably approaching it the same way that you are, in that if we've got a specific vulcanite planet which has got an enormous amount of the stuff, why would we need to deal with that random medley of ingredients?
Yeah, like the main challenge is everything else.
Yeah.
Is getting like the oil, especially on a planet with no water.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, so that's Fuji.
Okay.
And then the next one is Ganymede. Ganymede is a bit better. So Ganymede, I had Cryonite.
Your planet names seem like sensible. My ones just seem completely
I
ridiculous.
also snack.
Right, well, yeah, fair. So pink stuff,
so
immersite.
here I realized. Yeah, so this one I have immersite and I have cryonite. And I had water and I had mineral water as well. So I decided I do one portion of the immersite process, so I make crystals, and I do all the cryonite stuff and shoot it off and put it in a rocket.
Yep.
And then I had a system, now it's broke, so unfortunately I can't really show you, but I had a system of air filters where they would only be used when needed, and they wouldn't just clog the belt, but unfortunately it's broken and clogged the belt.
What was the air filters?
The whole point of that is dead.
What was the air filters doing?
So this planet gets meteors, or gets biter meteors, which is a pain in the hole.
Right.
Which means that you basically can't confirm extension or anything like that. So what I ended up having to do was have some system of trying to deal with the pollution, especially when you're mining immersite, because immersite mines are like 200 pollutionists a minute.
Right.
With speed modules. So I realized I definitely needed to have a way of preventing biter attacks. And then eventually I got artillery and then just blew everything up and deleted the map and hoped that it wouldn't break.
So are you saying that on this cryonite planet you get biter meteors? Because I haven't experienced one of those yet.
So this one is supposed to have Vitamelange. But it also is a huge planet. So if you look at like the resources, you'll see that there's Vitamelange. Vitamelange always comes with biter meteors.
Oh. Because I suppose it tells you it's got biter meteors. My one doesn't tell me that, or at least not that I remember. I'm pretty sure I would have noticed that. I don't think it's. So these this is what I thought. This would just be a standard set of maps that we're all playing the same maps, but we're not. These are all completely random.
It's all different seed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the next planet is Enlil. So that's, if you go, actually no, the next one you just keep going is the Calidus asteroid belt, is just a quick little
detour. Solar
quick
panel.
little couple of mines, couple of trains,
and an acre of solar panels.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I needed all of them.
Oh, this is quite a pretty cool little mining outpost you got here. I haven't done any mining on any asteroids yet. This is...
Yeah, it was a bit of fun setting this up. Initially I had this supplying Beryl entirely, but that was a pain to deal with because there's so much sand from dealing with Beryl before you have productivity modules that it just builds and builds and builds. So I had to figure out a way of getting rid of that, so I ended up just sticking all of the ore into a cargo ship, because it stacks to 50, so it's not as terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And blasting that off the novice. So you saw that build there, close to the blue chips.
Yeah, I don't think I've paid much close attention to my asteroid, but these resources you get are incredible.
Yeah, you get a huge amount of density and ore out of it.
That makes it properly worthwhile.
So next is Enlil. This is where things started getting a lot more focused on the design. So Enlil is just another ring out. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, so here I had a fairly set design, and that I wanted like all my belts to be symmetrical and everything to line up. I didn't really want to use like the advanced stuff, and I wanted to deal with the trains the way the mod intends you to, unfortunately. So, if you go to, where are you on the map? So if you go a little south, you'll see a homonite mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I crush everything on site, and that gives me a stone byproduct, and then I use that stone byproduct to make chlorine at the thing. So I actually use all of the byproducts in this build. So everything became significantly more coherent and focused.
It's a lot more substantial as well, isn't it?
This one got a lot of infrastructure went into this one because I needed like 4 massive mines, which meant that I needed a lot of trains and a lot of work.
Did you just leave the trees?
You also need like. Sorry.
Did you just leave the trees?
I wanted to watch them die.
You built your factory around the trees.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I just didn't really pay attention to the trees at the time. I kind of wanted. I slammed down my blueprint and I just wanted to see it work. Eventually, I'll come back here and I'll put concrete on and do something.
Just curious.
So
because I would just knock down the forest before I even started. Just off you go.
Nah, I just slammed everything down to the ground. So yeah, that's Enlil, and then the prettiest one out of the planetary builds is Snack.
Okay. Oh.
So
I
made my own. So in other planets, I relied on the blueprint for nuclear, and in this one, it wouldn't stick, or wouldn't have managed. So I made my own.
It's landed me out in the middle of goddamn nowhere. Where the hell am I? Oh my goodness.
Oh. Shit, yeah. Yeah. I had to go all the way down to find somewhere that was worth building on in this planet.
What? I'm still coming.
Yeah, keep going.
Here we go.
There you go. There's.
Wow. So is that the center? Is that where you spawn? That must be the center.
Yeah.
It's a big old planet with not much on.
Yeah, big desert. So here's where I really started adapting my trains and stuff.
Ooh.
So because like Iridite only stacks to 10, so you have to really be creative with the trains to get them to work.
Yeah, I haven't found that out yet, but yeah. The stack size is something that's to be navigated in SpaceX. That's a new thing that I'm learning to deal with. I suppose that's why you need you need bigger trains, don't you? I mean.
Yeah.
Crushed Iridite. I haven't done any Iridite yet, really. I don't think. I just spotted this thing over here. What's it? Oh, nuclear power. You're actually doing nuclear power.
On this one, yeah. So this one, Ganymede and Enlil, they're all nuclear power because their day-night cycle's pretty shit.
Right.
But this one, I needed a big nuclear power plant because other ones were like 1.5 gigs, and I think this is 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 gig supply.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're just bringing in the uranium from elsewhere, aren't you? You're not having to deal with any of the processing or bringing in steel or the iron and the stone that you get from processing the uranium. All of the things that are causing me nightmares. But I also think that's kind of the benefit of having a couple of goes at it beforehand. You can kind of make a few mistakes and come with it with a bit of hindsight.
You kind of have an idea of where you want to go.
Yeah. Because the more I speak to people, the more I feel like everyone starts off by approaching it the standard way they do with all Factorio, which is just to start off big. And then you get to a certain point and you realise that the challenge isn't in the bigness, it's in the logistics of connecting it all together.
Yeah.
So how far away, what science have you got at the moment then? How far away from the end are you?
So I need to get bio going, and then once I have a bio build, then I'll be able to make advanced materials or advanced science, and then it's matter science, and then after that, then it's deep space science.
Have you got to those points before, or is this the first time that you'll be getting there?
No, this is the farthest I've gotten.
Yeah.
So you go to Novus Orbit now.
Oh yeah.
You'll see some of the memes that I've done.
This is okay. Yeah, I'm interested in this.
So there are too many telescopic recipes in this mod. I hate how much stuff is built off the previous tier of stuff. It's so annoying. So in order to deal with that without having belts that go like literally everywhere, I have this big column of warehouses. So one which starts off a bus, and then the other which is essentially a requester warehouse. So if you follow up where the
Yeah. What are you doing with all these?
So everything here, the idea is that if I need anything, I can just add it to the mall and add it to the combinators over to the left or right of the chests,
Yeah.
and they'll be picked up off of the belts from the bus down at the bottom, and shoved into every single chest all the way up until it gets to where it's needed.
So
I found this was a really good way of not having to deal with the bots all dying when you get like logistic bots and they have whatever the thing is, attrition.
Yeah.
So instead of that, I just have everything. I have literally everything going into a bunch of mixed chests that are all controlled with like filter inserters and combinators.
So where did all this stuff come from? And where does right at the bottom?
Yeah.
This is insane. So each one of these requests, each one of these provider warehouses has got the same amount. No, they've got different medleys of materials in them.
They've got different amounts, yeah. So the combinators. The combinators
are what?
Like say like how much stuff should be in this chest.
And then the
and they're sent. That signal is then sent down the chain to either the belts or the previous chest.
What and then
everything is just shoved into the next chest and the next chest and the next chest until it gets to where it's needed.
Okay. I think I know. I think I understand the system that you built here. I have absolutely no idea how it works. This.
So if you go to where are you looking?
I'm right at the bottom.
If you go down a little south, you'll see the starting combinators.
Yeah.
So these give the initial requests.
To novice.
Okay? No, just to the inserters down below.
Right?
And then when these inserters detect like a positive signal, so if you highlight one of the power poles, you'll see there's a request for lithium batteries.
Yep.
And that would be because the belt for lithium batteries is currently empty. Or I don't have a belt for lithium batteries. I don't know where it's going. No, I don't.
So like a box. So a box like a box in the middle will request a certain medley of ingredients.
Here you can see. So when they request, it will send up the lithium batteries, and then they'll eventually get into a box, and the request will go down.
Yeah, but it won't just go straight into the box. So these. Yeah, so the demands, so these filter inserters, the demands on the filter inserters will change depending on what the circuit networks tell it. I didn't even know you
And the reason I have so many combinators is because you can only have so many filters, because otherwise they start to have problems. Like they won't pick up enough stuff, or they'll have like too much of a request for one thing and they won't go forward, and then it'll just never pass through. So I have 6 combinators for 6 filter inserters. I try to limit the amount of requests on each combinator.
I didn't even know that was possible. Set filters.
Yeah. I got this from a guy called Lawrence Plays. I got the idea from for the initial chess series, like over to the left, where there's like multiple belts coming off. And all these filter inserters will basically say like they have a blacklist of whatever's supposed to stay in that chest. So if you look at the combinator beside it, you'll see like negative 100k and whatever.
I don't know where you're looking. Where are you looking?
Over to where the rocket pad is.
Rocket pad. Left.
Those chests.
Oh right, yes. Oh.
Yeah. So if you check the filter or the combinator there. That basically says like, okay, leave however much in here, and then everything else gets passed through.
Right. This is crazy.
Yeah. So this is my starter base first space.
Yeah, but Matt, it's a cool starter base. It's a good way.
Yeah, I was really proud of this.
It's a really smart way of doing it. That's not a complete mess.
That was my way of dealing with them all. I've seen a couple of these on Reddit as well, but I will say I was building this before I saw any of them on Reddit. I did steal the idea. Well, that's a lie. I did steal the idea from Dosh again, from the C block video that Dosh Dashington did. But I expanded on it by quite a lot.
Yeah, I do.
To try and get like all the stuff.
I think that's super impressive. That's the kind of shopping mall. That's just a really neat idea.
Yeah, because it just goes up, and it doesn't like blow it out to the side or do something weird.
It couldn't. It didn't need to go straight up. You could do like a zigzag and come up and down. You know, you could make it a.
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily need to necessarily have it in one straight block. That's the way my mind goes.
Maybe, yeah. I felt like it was neater because I was bringing the solar up here.
You've got it right next to the solar. It's not like
everything going up.
It's not like it's inelegant with what's around it, but that's just kind of how my mind works.
Yeah.
You know, in my mind, I'm thinking, how would I fit this in a time lapse frame? It's got to be in like landscape sort of mode. That's super. That's super cool.
Yeah, so previously that was brought in by rocket ship for some things and delivery cannons for nearly everything. So you saw like all the delivery cannons.
Yeah.
All of those were shooting to here, to where to where like the initial yellow logistics chest is. I would have had like 2 delivery cannons on each chest, and then everything was like slotting in and outputting on a belt. Then directly after that, this is like the only reason that I use loaders, by the way, because I hate them otherwise.
They're growing on me a little bit. They are growing on me a little bit.
They grow on you, but I feel like they're a bit of a tumor. Because they end up growing in like unexpected ways where inserters just look neater. If you get me.
I don't disagree. You know, I've been playing Factorio before loaders are even around. They are a bit of a jar. I mean, it feels like a bit of a cheat when I use them.
Yeah.
But you know, if they come as part of the mod, then it's kind of it feels like you're letting yourself down by not using them. You know, it makes things so much.
If you look at the recipe, this was one of the recipe changes that happened. So like loaders in the previous patch were much easier to build. So like they didn't take any of the electronic chips or anything like that. So that's why it feels a little dirty to me to use them still, because it does feel like it's cheating, and they are too cheap. But I didn't want to deal with.
I mean, this was the mod that you've started. I mean, you start the game with a certain set of rules. You're going to finish the game with hopefully the same set of rules. You know, there's no point changing the rules halfway through. But it's funny actually, because I did just notice that you're bringing steel gears up here. I was like, why are you bringing steel gears? And I was like, oh, right, that's why.
Wait, am I?
Well, I'm sure I just saw them somewhere. I mean, obviously, or maybe even just making, I suppose, you're producing steel gears up here.
I'm producing, yeah. I'm doing them. I'm making them in the mall.
Yeah, but I don't need to make steel gears. Not on this platform.
Oh, do you not?
No, because I don't need them. They're not in that recipe.
Oh, yeah, I see.
So I saw steel gears up here. I was like, what's going on with? Have I missed something? I mean, you've got iron gears. You've got engine.
Yeah. So I make anything that I need. I'll just.
Oh, so you're not bringing anything.
Just go into the chest and get passed up.
You don't bring this stuff from Novice. You just make it up here.
Nope. Everything gets made up here.
Man.
Yeah, that was the benefit of having this, is that I can make every single intermediate product and shove it into a 6x6 box.
Yeah, which can take.
It's really, really powerful.
Yeah, it's I completely agree with you. The more I look at it, the better it gets. That's really, really cool. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could pull it off. I think I would have to. I don't think I could do it. Me personally. It's probably a bit. Yeah. I will ponder that. I do quite like the mess that I'm building on in novice orbit.
Yeah, there's a feeling that you get where everything matches together and you're happy.
There's a feeling that you get when you built a mess, but it still works.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is a certain joy in spaghetti.
Yeah. So this is my supply area, kind of. So if I have like some building that I need to make or some quick process that I can do. So here's where I have like the initial space sciences are down at the bottom of this space.
Where are you?
Down at the bottom?
Down the bottom.
South? There. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have like the quick little space science, optimization tech, productivity, utility science, and then the first tier of mechanical science is down here, because I want the catalog. And then if you follow from the first tier mechanical science just directly up, that's where that's the first tier of energy science and an ion stream pipe so that I can supply my spaceship.
It's a real head muck up to try and get your
it's
head. All of this space on stuff on the platform. Oh, go away. Because what I want to do is I want to figure it out. But I don't.
Yeah. Well, I'm on the previous patch, so.
That's also true. That's also very, very true. That's yeah.
But I think this sort of design maybe might give you ideas and like what you can do, and then over to the right is where my final science like labs are. So I have a little sushi base or sushi belt here that just drags all the science around the place, and if it picks one up, and the next thing will be put back down.
So do you monitor what's on this conveyor belt and then?
Nope. I just monitor what the inserters pick up. So if you look over to the combinators.
Yeah.
So I think by coincidence they monitor what's on the belt. I wouldn't really describe like the arithmetic combinator to the right. I think that's roughly what's on the belt, but it's not necessarily all correct.
I mean, the thing is, the challenge of getting this many sciences into a couple of research labs is actually
a couple of buildings.
Yeah, it's actually genuinely tricky.
Yeah. So this is what I've done: is get a little bit of sushi to basically say like if an inserter picks up some science, it'll read the contents, send that as a negative signal on the green wire. And then anything that actually picks that up will then like output because it sees like the negative signal.
So you've got like a cumulative total running.
Nope.
Oh.
It's just a memory cell. So the inserter that places science onto the belt will then take that number away, or sorry, it'll add that onto the belt. But the inserter that takes it away and onto a lab will take it away from the belt.
Got it. Okay.
So it's kind of a monitor of what's on the belt, but it's not really. I wouldn't really describe it that way.
The monitor kind of just picks up whether I got it. So it's constantly dipping between -1 and 0.
Yeah, it's like roughly 10 science on the belt.
Oh right, I've got you.
And if it drops below 1, then it will add another like thing of that science.
Yeah, got it. I think.
Okay, so and then we go to the train base.
Yeah.
And go all the way to the
Whoa, okay. Right.
That's west even.
Oh my god.
So
I didn't even know this was here.
Where...
Jeez.
So this is where the rail stuff happens. So the very bottom is all of my science belts. So I have mechanical on the left, I have astro on the top right, and energy on the bottom right. And then I have a slot in here for bio on the bottom left.
Yeah.
And then, so my mechanical build is probably my most, the one I'm most happy with because it gets rid of every single piece of scrap and uses all the heavy oil. from that scrap to make all the lubricant that it needs. And then the lubricant gets made into cosmic water, and then the cosmic water gets shuffled around the place, so it barely needs any upkeep in terms of like liquids, which is great in space.
There's
really
a lot
hard to get around.
Yeah, there's a lot of overflowing materials and stuff coming from different places, and
yeah,
percentages, like you get maybe 10% of something. You won't.
Yeah, so you get if you go down to the bottom of the mechanical build, you'll see all the blue belt. The black and blue arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a 90 item per second belt. There's 3 of them, and they all like output, and they get there's contaminated scrap which needs to get cleaned and then gets put onto another belt. But then all of that gets shoved into recyclers and gets made into ore, and then gets brought down to my core processing where it's used again.
This is cool.
Yeah,
there's a lot of trains. Wow,
that's a lot of trains.
I mean,
this is where the memes start with the trains.
So
because there are 2 ways and 1 ways everywhere.
Yeah. All of your train stations are dead ends. It's like triggering me a little bit.
Yeah, every single one. Well, sorry, there's 2 that aren't. So the scrap handling for mechanical science, and where my AI cores are made, and that's the only non-dead end stops.
Wow. So the trains, are these coming from Novice? Or are these just moving stuff around?
All of these get filled up on the other side of the space elevator, and then come up here. They pop into a waiting bay to stay there for a second if they need it, and then they run off.
Gotcha.
None of this is on LTN or CyberSyn or anything. All of this is like vanilla handling of train, which is quite fun.
That's all I ever know. I've never tried any of that fancy train stuff. I like how you set it up with 4 distinct zones ready to go. Like you've thought about it. Oh, I'm gonna have this zone for that, this zone for that. Oh, I like your rainbow.
Yeah. And I was quite happy with that. I got that working, and then I got the belts to actually output like reasonably as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. The best part of this whole base is the very middle of it where the science is. This is probably my finest moment in how I've managed this base. Because everything just spirals.
Yeah.
It's very neat.
It's very, very neat. It's very cool.
And each train, there's only 2 trains for each science, and then there's the thermofluid train, and that's it. And this recycles all of the cards that it uses, puts those onto a train, and then that gets shoved onto whatever science needs it.
Everything
I was really, really happy with how I managed to get all of this working.
It's very cool.
On top of that, there's a little bit of fun circuitry in the actual science buildings themselves. So you see, so you remember I was talking about the set filters thing?
Yes.
So basically on the red wire, if you look at the power pole at the very middle of the science build, that monitors, so you'll see there the 941 blank cards and all the like space lines. So that monitors the last belt going into a train for each of the sciences, and outputs like what's on that belt. So if it's full of tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3 science, then that'll be sent to the filter inserter that outputs from the science builder, and say, okay, you don't need to output your tier 1 science, you can just output your junk cards, and all of the tier 1 science can go into the tier 2 and so on down to the tier 3, tier 4.
I see. I just assumed that these are all the same science, but you've got tier 1, 2, 3 and 4. Oh, I've got it. So you've got tier 4 set up, but it's not being fed with anything, so that's something you need to do, I take it.
Yeah, and I bio like in placement as well.
That's a really cool, I mean, that's a really sexy way of laying that out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I really like that. Ah. This, all of this, it's very impressive.
Thank you.
It just makes me feel. You know when you play a game and you think, oh, I feel like I'm pretty good at this game, and then and then you go and take a couple of various tours.
And make something like
yeah, like you and like the previous one I looked at with his rocket that went everywhere, and I was just like, am I as good as I thought I was? And it's
well, you have a very distinct style.
I do.
In comparison, I think. I think that really comes out in your builds.
It is, but there's a certain amount of there's looking good, and then there's got to function at the same time. It can't just look good. You know, in my mind, it's got to be good as well. And it's always on that be good where it's the be good part of it where I'm thinking, oh, do I need to do better? where can I look for improvements? You know, because if there's something that's obvious that I'm not doing, then and it's an improvement. Mind you, to be honest, most people will tell you. If you're making a mistake on any of these videos, they'll just pop in the comments and they'll tell you straight away.
Yeah, so. They'll scream at you.
Yeah. Why are you doing it like that? You should be doing it like this. But
that's a single player game. Play like.
Yeah, well the thing is, someone else has pointed out trains in space, and I'm just like, nah, I'm happy with my conveyor belts. And then I look at this and I'm like, oh, am I doing it wrong? I'm like, what the hell am I? You know, it's like you've got how many? So the number of this is the question that I was going to ask. The number of trains that you've got on Novice, that you mentioned earlier, does that include the number of the trains that come up here as well, or are they two separate systems kind of?
No, so there's 85 up here, and there's 120 something on Novice.
Jeez. Wow. So I think I would just it would worry me going to bed. I would worry about which trains were right and wrong, and whether I'd because it's so easy just to set up a train incorrectly, and then it's. And then unless you check, but then I suppose if you've got a process that runs off it, it's going to go wrong if it's not going right, and you'll notice that sooner or later.
It's going to find a dead end, or it's going to do something weird.
Yeah. I would just lose my mind looking at this, trying to find problems. And that's what I'm constantly running around my bases looking for problems.
I like to sit at the middle of the science building, watch it spin, and then. I ignore all my problems.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know the thing. I mean, to be honest, if I had a system like this, I'd probably just look at the trains running around. I can do that on my basis. I can just sit. It's mesmerizing sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, man, this is an impressive base. Impressive base.
Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. Food for thought for me. I mean, I don't think I'll ever have a train base like this. I think I'm of the conveyor belt variety more than the trains. But
what happened to me was there's just so many materials that just take up so much space.
There are
to the point that I'm just like, train it all.
Yeah, I understand. I understand the logic. I'm just a bit bloody minded about the whole thing. But yeah, thanks for the tour, buddy.
No bother. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's been good.
I'll let you know if I progress. If you might want to look at it when I've got some more progress done, or if you're good.
If you ever get to the end, then yes, we will definitely do another video. Definitely. Yeah, we'll finish it off for sure. Because, if there is that few people doing it, then there's probably even fewer people putting it on YouTube. Where we can, there's that makes sense to me. Yeah, if you ever finish, I mean, you're on you ain't got much time.
No.
But if you do, just let me know. We'll set up another one. We'll finish it off definitely. We'll do a whole other video on it.